When American Marines first deployed M22 flamethrowers against fortified Japanese positions on Iwo Jima in February 1945, defenders who had survived months of naval bombardment and weeks of conventional assault broke. They ran screaming from caves that had withstood 14-inch shells. The psychological collapse wasn't irrational fear, it was calculated terror, born from a weapon that violated every principle of defensive warfare the Imperial Japanese Army had perfected across 3 years of island combat. The caves themselves represented engineering triumph. On islands like Peleliu and Iwo Jima, Japanese forces had carved networks extending 300 feet into volcanic rock, complete with multiple entrances, ventilation shafts, and reinforced chambers capable of housing entire companies. These weren't crude dugouts. Engineers used pneumatic drills, explosives, and cement to create positions that could absorb direct hits from battleship guns firing 16-inch armor-piercing rounds weighing over 2,000 pounds. A single cave complex on Hill 362A contained 17 interconnected chambers spanning 4 levels. Intelligence estimated that digging these fortifications required 6 months of labor by entire battalions working in shifts. The caves nullified American material superiority. A Marine rifle company advancing across open ground faced interlocking fire from positions they couldn't see, couldn't suppress, and couldn't destroy with conventional weapons. Standard doctrine failed catastrophically. Artillery saturated suspected positions with 30,000 rounds before assaults. Naval guns fired until barrels overheated. Aircraft dropped napalm canisters and 500-pound bombs. The caves absorbed everything. Concrete dust filled the air. Rock fragments ricocheted through tunnels. Then silence. When Marines advanced, defenders emerged and killed them. On Peleliu's Bloody Nose Ridge, the 1st Marine Division suffered 64% casualties over 5 weeks trying to reduce cave networks that covered less than 2 square miles. Battalion commanders watched companies evaporate. "We threw everything at those damn holes except the kitchen sink," Captain Everett Pope recorded in his after-action report dated October 1944, and they kept shooting. The M22 flamethrower weighed 68 pounds, fully loaded with 4 gallons of thickened fuel. Effective range measured 72 feet under optimal conditions, 20 feet less in wind. The weapon's reservoir held enough fuel for 8 sustained bursts lasting 3 seconds each. Marine flamethrower operators, called Zippos in unit slang, carried life expectancy measured in minutes once identified. Japanese doctrine prioritized killing them. Snipers received orders to target the fuel tanks first, then the operator. A single rifle bullet through the pressurized tank created spectacular results. The weapon's tactical value seemed minimal. What could 70 feet of flame accomplish against defenders 300 feet underground?
Everything, as it happened, physics betrayed the Japanese. Flame didn't need to reach defenders directly. The M22's fuel mixture, gasoline thickened with napalm powder developed at Harvard's Chemical Warfare Laboratory, created temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit at point of ignition. When operators directed streams into cave mouths, the burning fuel adhered to rock surfaces and continued combusting. Heat expanded, air pressure dropped. The cave network became a furnace drawing oxygen from every connected passage. Defenders in chambers far from the flame stream suffocated as superheated air replaced breathable atmosphere. Those who survived the initial heat wave faced carbon monoxide concentrations that induced unconsciousness in seconds. "The flame doesn't kill them," noted Lieutenant Richard Bush in a February 1945 field report from Iwo Jima. "The cave kills them." The weapon's psychological dimension exceeded its physical effects. Japanese soldiers trained to accept death by bullet, bayonet, or artillery. Their defensive doctrine assumed these risks. The flamethrower introduced something different, death by environment, by the transformation of their fortress into an oven. Defenders who witnessed flame attacks described walls glowing red, metal fixtures becoming untouchable, and the sensation of breathing steam. Some committed suicide rather than endure it. Others abandoned positions that had withstood months of conventional assault. On Iwo Jima's northern sector, Marine engineers documented 43 caves cleared by flamethrower teams in 72 hours, positions that might have required weeks using explosives and small arms alone. Production statistics reveal how quickly doctrine shifted. In 1943, American factories manufactured 800 flamethrower units. By 1945, monthly production reached 3,000 units, with priority allocation to Marine divisions preparing for Pacific operations. Each Marine rifle company received 4 flamethrower operators by early 1945, compared to none in most units 2 years earlier. Training expanded from basic familiarization to specialized courses lasting 40 hours. Operators learned cave topology, fuel mixture variations for different conditions, and coordination techniques with demolition teams. The Chemical Warfare Service developed extended range models with 100-foot reach for use against bunker complexes. Fuel consumption in the Pacific Theater reached 12,000 gallons monthly by war's end. Human cost remained brutal for both sides. Marine flamethrower operators suffered casualty rates approaching 80% in major operations. Japanese defenders faced choices between burning, suffocation, or surrender, a word barely existing in their military vocabulary. On Okinawa, American forces found mass graves where entire cave garrisons had suffocated together rather than evacuate under flame attack. The weapon's efficiency was undeniable. It reduced average cave clearing time from days to hours and cut casualties among conventional infantry by eliminating the need for close-range grenadier assaults. But efficiency came wrapped in horror. The flamethrower didn't win the Pacific War. Naval supremacy, air power, industrial capacity, and cryptographic intelligence did that work. But it solved the specific tactical problem that threatened to make island conquest prohibitively expensive: how to neutralize defenders who had mastered the art of making terrain impregnable. The weapon forced a terrible equation. Defenders could have impenetrable fortresses or breathable air, but not both. In choosing to fight from sealed positions, the Imperial Japanese Army created the conditions for their own destruction by a weapon that turned their greatest defensive asset into a furnace. The caves that should have prolonged resistance instead became tombs, and the Marines who emerged victorious carried scars from a form of warfare that reduced combat to its most elemental cruelty: the simple need to breathe.